Testing 1 2, mic check, and we are live, but I am a little bit hot. How is everyone doing today? Welcome to the 134th edition of the Saturday Morning Standup. I'm your host, Bronze Dragon. We're here to talk Splinterlands on a weekly basis most weeks. So, thanks for dropping by as always. I appreciate your time. We talk about what's been going on in Splinterlands. What have you been up to? What have you been heavily thinking about or buying in game, playing with? What do you think of the new rewards cards? There's a lot going on within Splinterlands that we could talk about. I don't know if you saw a video I posted earlier. Yeah, there's a lot going on with YouTube as well, and you may be seeing some big changes from my coverage as well as other people who cover Splinterlands. And it's not just Splinterlands, it's Web3 games, anything having to do with crypto and cashing out and making profit off of games. And this may impact games that aren't even crypto related, like play to earn games and such. So, that video's out. There's a big change coming to YouTube on November 17th. The rules are being updated. If you're interested in that, check out that video I posted earlier. They're cracking down. I think the target is just to wrap this up and not talk about it for a whole long time, but I wanted to mention it because it's set to affect what you see, like people like myself cover and what we can cover on YouTube and not. Now, the rules are focused at gambling. And obviously, Splinterlands is not a gambling site, although some people would argue buying and selling NFTs and cashing out. What I'm worried about is the cashing out process of, hey, I won a card, I sold that card, I made profit, I cashed out through cryptocurrency and then turn that into real money, which is something we talk about because it's part of a Web3 game. What makes a Web3 game a Web3 game, right? And you know, I'm worried that that will be caught up by the overarching AI that is looking specifically for games where you're cashing out and making a profit. Okay, so let me know in chat what you think of that. Otherwise, we have plenty of other stuff we can talk about as well. Hey, I'll start it off on a positive note, a semi-positive note. I got a card in the drawing this past week. Let's go to my card collection and reset, go to Conclave. I guess it would be reward cards. And here we go. It is a gold foil Arcane Withered Old Sage, which looks like a pretty decent card. I mean, for a magic card with 3 damage at max level, it's got some shield, it's got mid-level health, it's got enough shield to take 1 hit or 2 hits, and it's got some, and it's pretty speedy as well. It's got Void, it's got Spite, it's got Resurgence. So overall, a pretty decent card. The one point I don't like about these cards, and that kind of muted my excitement about getting it, is the fact that, once again, we talked about this the other day, is you can't use them on your wagons and you can't use them on your land, which, you know me, land is a big thing with me. So how did everybody else do on the drawing? Let's see here. Let's see who we got. I've been talking for too long here. Let's see who's in the house. Okay, we got DeFizz in the house. Welcome. We got Snowballs. We got Paul Taylor. Welcome, everybody. Wibbles in the house with a big wee. Oh, Snowballs also adds a wee there. People's Guild is in the house. Nice. Thanks for dropping by. TPG says, not sure how long I'll make the midnight stream, but want to say what's up to everyone. Waving hand. Oh, so where you're at now, it's midnight? Well, I can definitely understand not wanting to stay on too long. So cheers for stopping by. Oh, I did want to mention this, and this is not me selling or anything, but what you'll notice on YouTube is they've brought our view numbers down. And And so we're making less money. So what they're doing is they're trying to emphasize us making money in other ways. So for a long time, I've been putting this off, but I now have Bronze Dragon Gaming t-shirts available on my website. If you go to my main page and look under the store, you can find them available in a number of different cool colors. I ordered one before I wanted to put them up because I wanted to test the quality of the t-shirt, because a lot of t-shirts are thin and flimsy these days. This is a good quality t-shirt and the artwork came out good. So if you want to buy one, I make a few bucks on it. I just wanted to mention that. I've got some cool colors, what I consider cool as well. I bought this, which is called Plum, because I have a lot of green and red t-shirts and black t-shirts, but not other colors. So anyway, that's that. Nice quality t-shirt if you want one. We got Gathering the Magic in the house. Says, good morning. Happy Saturday. What will happen to our channels this month? I think we'll be okay, but we'll see, fingers crossed. Yeah. Yeah, I was looking into that all yesterday, right? Because to tell you the truth, I was going to bed Thursday night and Erroneous tagged me on X with this statement about these new changes coming in, which he had saw from somebody else posting. So great. There goes me researching this for about an hour. I'm like, I got to go to bed. So I woke up all Friday. I was looking into this, and I generally feel that it covers a few other things. You can watch the video, but they specifically call out NFTs and the act of cashing out for profit. So I generally feel it's aimed at gambling sites. And we all know, we've seen a resurgence, not a resurgence, just an onslaught, that's a better word, of gambling apps lately. You see ads for them on TV, on apps. You know, I play Atlas Earth and we get this all the time, these kind of apps, you know. So I think they're targeting that. However, what I'm afraid of is the fact that a lot of the things we talk about within our Web3 coverage sound very much like what a discussion on a gambling type thing, buying winning NFTs as prizes and stuff. And it's going to be interesting to me, and I say interesting with trying to stay positive, which is very hard for me because I'm a pessimist. Because I've been working on this channel for 3 years now. I've been covering Splinterlands for 3 years. In fact, it was kind of interesting that yesterday the news dropped the same day with me that I put my 3-year anniversary video up. I did a short video with my dog and everything. I thought it was pretty interesting. I had never done a video like that. So 3 years covering Splinterlands. And then this crackdown of sorts happens. So I generally feel that they're aiming at gambling coverage, but I fear that since it's specifically called out, that games like Splinterlands will be caught in the side blast, if you will. So, but I've got so many videos. I've got more than 750 videos at this point. There's more than 300, more than 300 videos I've done on Splinterlands. You know, I can't go through all those. So what's going to happen is November 17th, and I'm sure it's not going to happen all in one day, right? And I know you guys don't want to talk about this for the whole show. I'm not going to talk about this for the whole show, but I felt like it bore some discussion, right? It's going to be like throwing a flashbang into a room or a hand grenade into my channel, so to speak, because I'm fully expecting a bunch of my videos to get flagged and a number of things different happen. You know, they could be completely taken down. They could be flagged for 18 or older. There's a number of different things. They could be left up but demonetized, which does me no good, right? So yeah, the point I'm at now is we're just gonna have to wait, or I'm just waiting. I'm not taking any preemptive action. After the 17th, you will probably see a definite change in my coverage and how I go about things. You'll probably see some warnings go up. You know, this is, you know, whatever the warnings go up, but we'll do what we can do to keep chugging along. Now, the good news is that any coverage before November 17th, you're not going to get any strikes on. And if you're not familiar with covering, doing anything on YouTube, 3 strikes and you're out. 3 strikes in a 90-day period, and you get your website, your channel gets taken down. Okay, so luckily no strikes, but a lot of other side damage could happen. Okay, let's go back into chat and see what's going on. We've got Doombot here. Snowball says, "Yo, Bronze Dragon, you haven't got canceled yet." Well, the 17th is the magic day, right? So I don't think I'm going to be canceled because they said no strikes for previous. You couldn't go in and make a change and make everything prior to that have strikes because that rule set did not exist back then, right? So yeah, so we just talked about that. Gathering says, yeah, I guess my audio was down on desktop. Yeah. Positive Planet is here. Welcome. Let's see here. Snowball says, the last PG chat was a banger. During the intros, I was thinking, how many more big names can they get on at once? Positive Planet says, I only do guild brawls. No time to play anymore. Not worth what you earn. Love your show, though. What are the new cards? Well, we can take a look at them. Let's go to market and let's go to... let's go to items. Let's go to card collection. Let's clear. Let's go to conclave and reward cards. And then we'll have to filter by all cards. Okay, so I obviously don't have a lot of cards. Let's just go by standard foil. But these are the ones that are in blacked out are the ones I don't have yet. So there's other coverage. I know that Aftersound did a complete line of introduction videos of the cards. If you're interested, he went by element, so it's interesting. I've found all the cards are pretty cool, and I haven't found any stinkers yet. However, like I said, I haven't got a whole lot of them yet, and I haven't played around with them a whole lot. So, Positive Planet says NBA gambling story should definitely be a film. Yeah. Tell me about it. And I'm an old guy. I remember back in the day, the big thing was Pete Rose getting banned. That guy should be in the Hall of Fame. Let's face it. What they're doing today in the NBA is nothing. What he did back then was nothing compared to what they're doing today. I'll leave it at that because this is not a sports kind of show. But Crypto Beaver's in the house. Welcome, Crypto Beaver. Gathering says, saw you won a card in the drawing. Grats. Yeah, we just talked about that. A lot of popular names going in the winners. Yeah, we discussed that. There's a lot of people. I didn't have a huge amount of going into the draw. I think I had 300 maybe chances, which was not huge compared to what some people had, but you fired back with it made me realize that you could have this huge amount of entries, but you're still only going to get one award, right? So once you get that award, everybody can get one award. So that kind of levels it out. I thought that was a good balancing decision they made on their side as far as the draws go, the weekly draws, that is. Supreme Victory Studios in the house. Hello. Positive Planet says, are you still playing the Atlas game? Atlas Earth? Yes, I am. I've been covering it for a year and a half now, and we have that live stream tomorrow on Sundays at noon if you want to stop by. We talk about Atlas Earth for about an hour and a half. Very popular game. Snowball says, sell bits off your beard off. You're making a killing. Sell bits of my beard. I'm thinking about getting it shaved down a little bit. It's getting a little bit too long again. I had gone through a period there where I let it grow out mountain manish, and I just it was just too long. Positive Planet likes my t-shirt. Nice. Supreme Victor Studio likes it as well. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I'm more often than not these days when I buy a t-shirt, I'm unhappy with it because it's usually too thin, but I like the quality of these. So, and it kind of came and it kind of feels like a t-shirt that you've worn for and it's gotten broken in, so it's nice and soft. Gathering says, people say I'm negative. I tell them, no, I am not. Yeah, negative. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm viewed as probably the saltmeister, the salty guy of the YouTube creators. I always approach this channel as trying to be kind of neutral. Obviously, I'm leaning towards Splinterlands because I've been playing it for 3 years, right? But I try to cover things neutrally. In other words, if I don't like something that they did, I'll say that. And of course, I don't want to be that guy that's seen as just an advertisement for a game, right? So I try to call out the good things and I try to call out the things that I don't necessarily like. However, I know from a perspective of a guy who works for a software company what is possibly not that I know what goes on into making a game, but as far as developing software, I know some of the parts that go on in the background and the process. So I know that it can be hard to, balance things out, and you can definitely not make everyone happy all the time. You can't do it. So, I keep playing. Like I said, I'm not necessarily, I do keep my bot running in Wild. On two, I almost said channels, but two accounts. But my main focus is land, which in fact we have to take a look at, and I have to do my claims for this week. Let's see where we're going here. So yeah, I'm right at the. I did make a change in Ravenwood several days ago, which means I had to do a claim. If before you do any changes on your land, I know I always say this, but I want to warn people: do the claim on your land before you make any changes. Because if you make that change, it changes the math that's going on. If you increase your production power or decrease it or, in some way, that's why they have to do the claim at that point. So Gathering says, I'm up to almost 1,000 videos. I would cry if I lost them all. Like I said, I'm between 750 and 800 somewhere, and it's a lot of work. And people hear me say this once in a while, but every video is three hours worth of work, right? In most cases, unless it's just a quick little snippet of news I put out. And some videos take a lot longer to put together. As well as I do. If you do a math video, those take 4, 5, 6 hours. I did a math video for Atlas Earth this past week that looked at one thing, and it took me like 8 hours worth of filling out a spreadsheet to come to my conclusions, right? So there's a lot of time and effort put into this videos. And even, I know, I'm a low guy on the totem pole. I'm not one of these guys have thousands and thousands of dollars to pay a crew to make high quality videos. What you see is what I've done, and same with you, right? Snowball says, I used to be indecisive. Now I'm not unsure. Now I'm not so sure. Okay with the dad jokes. Emmy Wanty is here. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. I wanted to drop by some of your guys' streams this past couple days, but I've just been so busy, especially with the announcement on what's happening with the YouTube rules and such, and haven't made anybody else's live stream in the last few days just because I've been so busy. Also, I've had 2 episodes drop. Okay. So Gathering, everybody's keeping going with the dad jokes here. Lady Sharon is here. Always a fresh face to see or hear in the chat. Sharon says, good morning. I've been doing real life stuff more this week, including birthday and Halloween stuff. Well, happy birthday if it was you. I can see you guys are mostly talking about YouTube thing and now going into silly jokes. We try not to be silly on this channel. The person responsible for being silly has been sacked. And if you get that reference, then you probably have a gray beard like me. uh, I'm a fan of Monty Python. What can I say? Lady Sharon also says, I'll listen, but I also have some birthday money that I plan on spending in game. Nice. What are you going to get? Trying to decide what to go for. More land, card packs. There's so much to get. I don't know. I would go with whatever you're having the most fun with. There's so much to get, and you just have to. It's your birthday money. It's your birthday. Anybody remember Showbiz Pizza and those animatronics that would get up there and say, they played the Beatles' It's Your Birthday song, and it was always just kind of a little bit on the creepy side? I would go with whatever you're having the most fun with and what you see the most value in. If you're playing a certain, I know you like to play Earth. If there's a certain card out there that you think that would really strengthen your play on a daily basis, I would just go for that. Kind of level up the card or buy a different card that would complement the cards you usually play. That's probably what I would get. Otherwise, if you need, as far as land goes, if your land still needs a few extra characters or cards, then I would look at that as well. So let's see here. Gathering says, depends upon what your focus is, land or modern or wild. If you are working on your deck, I would say go for the cards you want, need over packs. Yeah. I've always said, and I think Gathering also agrees this, since we've been covering this for years, I've always said singles, definitely for a new player, packs are always fun to open. Packs are kind of like that random element where you could get this really cool card, but overall your deck is strengthened faster and more economically by buying singles off the market. Like I said earlier, figuring out what you like to play, what seems to work best for you, look at the cards that are available on the market, and pick and choose a few that you can get good deals on. If you keep an eye on the card market and you're looking for certain cards over a number of days, then you will see that they fluctuate, and you can also take advantage of peak monsters. As always, I'm always looking at the land, the land page. But if you go into the card market and say, for instance, I don't know, you were interested in this. Let's look at epics. Say, for instance, you wanted some nice epics to strengthen your deck, and say, for instance, you were interested in this Lady Amara. You could go in here and see the prices, but look up on this little box here that shows. Click on month. And it will show you the average price this card has been selling for and whether it's up or whether it's down. So this Lady Amara card currently is down. It's not a huge amount, but it's still, it was at a high of like 9 cents, and now it's down to just about 4 cents. Probably because it's no. My guess was there was a multi-BCX copy. Yeah, here's a multi-BCX copy here. It's got one BCX, but there's two of them. Anyway, my point is, check out the graph here, and you can see when there's a good deal going on. So another deal. So check, for instance, maybe you're interested in this horse tamer. And you could go in here and the same thing, look at the month, and you can say, oh, it's up. So it's not necessarily a great deal right now. So I just wanted to throw that out there for new players who may not necessarily know that this is available. One of the great features available that they built into Peak Monsters. People's Guild says, love seeing the walk and talk featuring Little Maggie. Hope you keep those going. Yeah, I need to find a way to do those once in a while, but it's really hard to do that type of episode and talk about things that we talk about, like on Splinterlands and everything, because I like to give visual examples, put stuff up on the monitor that I'm talking about so people can see what I'm talking about, and in a lot of cases do example, because some of my videos are like, hey, this is how you do this, and then I point out, so it's hard to do. So, but yeah, I agree. I had fun. I do need one of those stabilizer things on your hand, because I didn't like the jitteriness of my video. But you know, I'm an older guy and I was walking along and I don't have one of those stabilizer things, so I might have to look into that. But Snowball says, if you enjoy disappointment, buy packs. Well, yeah, they tend to be disappointing most of the time, but that one time you draw a really cool card, that's Mage Necrosi. What a good card. I just happened to see that. And I know at this point it's in Wild, but love using Mage Necrosi. Great card. That came out of the Wild because I just happened to see it. Snowballs then says, packs are fun when you pull a black foil. Yeah, I haven't pulled a black foil in a while, though. I pulled 2 black foils kind of early on in the set. You know, I've been buying 1 pack a week, and just continuing. In case you don't know, as we go towards, they just announced we're about halfway for the Conclave Arcana set. So we've got about 6 months left. So as the time ticks down, you'll have a better chance at some of those cards where some of the upper level, like black foils and arcanes, have not been pulled yet. So Gathering says, props to all the content creators for all the hard work. Shows the love we have for the game. I don't know. You know, there's a lot of games out there that have a lot of content creators on Twitch and everything. But you know, as far as the quality of the group of content creators, you know, I really think the content creators that make videos around Splinterlands are very high level. Some of them, a lot of these other content creators, just kind of, they're in it for the money. Obviously, we want to get a little bit payback as well, but most of the content creators I know on Splinterlands really, really like the game, you know. And as far as, you know, working with the actual Splinterlands team, it's always been a very good process as far as working with Dave and Blaze and such. Over the years, they've always been very easy to work with, so I will say that. Emmy Wanty says, good point. We don't always remember how much behind the scenes labor happens too. That's for sure. Snowball says, yeah, much loved all the streamers. I spend enough time in the game without streaming too. Well, most of my spare time is spent doing something around YouTube, whether it's streaming or whether it's producing videos. Lady Sharon says, well, I wanted to buy another land. I already have 1 grain, but I really don't want to spend more than $15 for it. Unfortunately, that would be in a different region and may not be grain. At this point, I would concentrate on the same region you're in and try to pick up another grain. Because what you're doing here is you're building up your base. You want to have enough grain produced so that after you have 2 plots of grain, then maybe that 3rd plot you can pick up pick up an iron or pick up a wood, producing something other, because then you have your base filled out that you're producing enough grain to subsidize all 3 of them. So that's just my play strategy, which I've been talking about for years, although I haven't made a whole lot of land videos lately. Sharon goes on to say, I'm also renting Calamity and actually like the card, and I'm thinking about buying enough to get to level 2, which would be basically $20. I noticed I can buy with credits directly and not DEC. Yeah, most of the stuff on the most of the stuff you can buy directly with credits, which just involves using PayPal, which is like a little, let's face it, a lot easier than going through and buying, you know, cryptocurrency and such. But you can buy credits and then come over on the market and, was it Calamity? I have 1 BCX of Calamity. I was also thinking about increasing her to level 2 as well. But I just wanted to see what the I guess everybody's been having a good opinion of using the card. Let's go. I guess she would be under promo. Why is it not under promo? It's not under promo? I guess it's a core card now? Yeah. Let's go to legendary. Oh, there she is. Okay. Yeah. So looking about almost $6, about right under $6. And for a level 2, you need 3. So if you have 2, you need 2. If you have 1 already, then you need 2 more for level 3. And she picks up Life Leech, which I think is ultimately really important in the use of this card. And then at level 3, the card also picks up Expose. I heard, who was it? It was Vugtus on chat earlier who was talking. I don't think he was very impressed with Expose. And then Last Stand. Last Stand's always good. Everybody remember Lamacron back in the day? Could we have a Calamity Cron? Okay, back into chat. But I was thinking of buying packs first and opening them just in case I might win something. Yeah, I mean, it's always this. If you have an idea of what you want for your deck, you're better off at buying singles. It's always great. It's always fun. Let's face it, we play card games because we like ripping packs, right? It's fun. But back to... Emmy1T says, land seems useless to get into unless you go crazy, I think. Look at some gold foil common reward cards to have at least 3 right away. Yes, I do agree that as far as production on land, value is really good on, still on, this is my collection, the Chaos Legion gold foils. We've talked about this for a number of years because that was ultimately my original strategy, was find out what splinter, what element you need on the land that gives you your 10% bonus. Go into that card and then buying a max level of it. So in this case, you would need 38 copies of, say, for instance, you had a mountain and you need a fire guy for it. So you'd put it in here and then you'd have 2,000 production points, right? But you also have to consider that if you're using a max level card, you also have to have 10,000 DEC to stake. So the cost a lot of times associated there is pretty high with the DEC. So, but ultimately you want to have max level cards on each slot on your land to make best use of it. Now, I understand everybody's in a different situation and they're working on it. But that's where I started with mine, because let's go back for sale. Because ultimately these cards are more expensive than what they used to be. But I was buying these. Let's look at these on Peak Monsters. Let's go to common, and so you can click on bulk buy, and then since common, well, this is regular foil. I need gold foil. Do lava spiders. I've got a lot of several lava spiders. If we did bulk buy and you needed 38, so you can still see you can get a max level common gold foil for under $5. Okay, and that'll give you 2,000 production points. Not investment advice, like I said, but that's the way I approached it. And over the years since I've staked a lot of my land out that way, I've started upgrading them to rares instead of commons, which the rares have really kind of risen in price. Now, the other thing you can look at that also bears, it's worth mentioning, are the betas, right? So you can go into betas because they get a bonus. They get a five times multiplier bonus for putting them on land. Now, I can't afford to use gold foils and betas, but if you look at the rares and say, for instance, once again, we were looking at fire, So if you went in and you looked at this Serpentine Soldier and you got a bulk buy of, this is a little bit more expensive, right? 115, that's $27. But if we went over here and let's look at betas, beta core. So it's it's a little bit more expensive, but you're boosting your production points to 5,500. So, and the card prices are different, but that DEC price, that staking price, is still going to be the same. So it's a max level card. It's going to require 10,000 DEC to stake it out. So you just have to really figure out the value between how much production points you want to pay for. So I think that both going the beta way and going the beta rare and the gold foil commons and rares and possibly epics, but they get a little bit more expensive in Chaos Legion. So good way to go, good discussion. Okay, let's jump back into chat. Lady Sharon says, I had asked for a general Visa card instead of Google Play, so I'm hoping I can connect it. Apparently, I have to register it with my address, and then I can connect it to PayPal. Yeah, it sounds about right. Snowball says, Calamity is such a good card, so many use cases. Level 2 is a big step for it. Yeah, I mean, I've heard nothing but good calls about it. Well, since we're talking about it, let's go over to Conclave. It's core now, and legendary. Let's change our filter. So here's the main drawback. It's electrified. It deals 1 damage to all allied units at the beginning of each round, and 2 and each in round 2 and each following round. So obviously the bad part of this is that it's doing damage to your other cards during play. Now, obviously, if you were playing in the rule set where everything was stripped away, then this would, all your abilities was stripped, this would be a great card, right? But in what other situations would you say this would be a great play? But like I said, oh, I have 2. I thought I had 1. But anyway, I need to buy 1 more so I can get level 2, I guess. I do think that the life leech will greatly improve this, but still, with that said, let me know in chat what you think a great play, what kind of rule set this would go great with. Gathering says, been buying the gold foil common reward cards for my $10 accounts. I only need 1, and they are going fast. Almost 20% pulled already. Yeah, I pulled some, and I pulled 3 or 4 gold foils, and I put them up on the market for sale, to tell you the truth. Let's go to Conclave and rewards. And do we have a filter for, okay, for sale? Yeah, my item, my cards, I put them up for sale for a logical price, and they just haven't sold. So apparently people are just not into buying them right now, I guess. I was hoping somebody would come along and just buy them up. Oh well. Yeah, I got several. I haven't bought my weekly set of rewards yet. I do need to also do an opening on. Have a bunch of Gladius cases I need to open. That's another thing worth talking about, is the fact that they've started talking about a new Gladius set, right? I've been working on the same Gladius set for 3 years since I started playing, right? And it used to be, it's been very slow going, and because you used to have to be in a guild to fight brawls just to get them. So it was very piecemeal. You only got a few packs at a time, one pack at a time, lower level and stuff like that. So it's very hard to build up. So now we're getting to the end where we're going to start talking about having a new Gladius set pretty soon. So something to think about, spend on merits and try to get some of those good cards. Sharon says, yeah, I mean, I've wanted to do land, but it's just so expensive. I agree. Like I said, you just have to look at where you're having fun in the game and go with it. You can't do everything. I've given up on that. You can't stretch yourself. You can't be one of these top, not everybody can be one of these top level big dogs, like I refer to them, and spend thousands and thousands of dollars. So, in fact, we're a little bit over time as far as buying my pack, but let's go ahead and buy a pack. And I had to stretch thin. I really need to get some new DEC. I had put an extra card or two on my land, and so I used up most of my DEC. So I had to sell off a little bit of SPS to get some DEC to buy a pack. So let's go ahead and buy an alchemy pack, because I did the math, and no, I don't want 12. I don't want 12,000 alchemy packs. I did the math, and spending 12,000 DEC is actually cheaper than what the secondhand alchemy packs are going for on the market. It works out to be about $7.50 with DEC currently. And also another thing I want to mention, boy, has the usage of potions went way up lately. All these changes they've made over the last few months have, us old schoolers are used to having like tons and tons of potions build up, but now I've had to start buying my gold foil potions. And I blew through them just because with this new reward set, when you buy your card picks, it costs so many potions if you want to use them on each card pick. That's one thing I don't agree with. I think they should relook at the math and bring the amount of potions we have to do down. So the potions you use will double the percentage chance of getting like a gold foil. But still, the percentage chance of getting that is still really low. I think the cost of using these it was just way too high. That's my opinion. Okay, so let's go ahead and buy and use my alchemy pack. Cross your fingers for me. Well, the gold foil is going to be a common, but we did get an epic and a rare. So above average pack overall. The gold foil is a vicious giraffe. I still want a t-shirt with that on it. The rare is a Thragon. And here is the epic. Seems like I get a lot of the Arendarials. So let's go to card collection. What am I doing here? Let's go to core, and then I'm still on the for sale, owned. Okay, so here's an Arendarial. So yeah, that's just my second one of her, or him, however it is. Anyway, that's the big pick of the week. And I can also go over to conflicts and see if that helps. I don't think that common gold foil is going to help out any, but we can always do this. So I'm at 162.8. And since they changed the math, I don't even have one guaranteed draw anymore. Okay, so I'm still, I really have to look at my cards and do some combines to try to up my per hour. I'm still doing pretty good, but I still don't even have one guaranteed. In case you didn't know, for the next draw, they're going to start putting out the summoners, which are the most popular part of the airdrops in the set, and they really made them more difficult to get, basically. So, okay, let's look back at chat. Emmy1T says, League Max my commons. Rares are close. Legendaries will take a while now, but I don't have a stockpile of glint. Yeah, I burned through most of my glint too. Lady Sharon says, yes, but I think I might need a level 3 Kalia as well to play her right. I have mostly been playing Calamity for the Elf Mimic and the Execution. I'm a little concerned about the thing with the gold foil. I found out that the skins were already gone, but I even thought about buying anything. But before I even thought about buying anything, the idea that the reward cards might sell out. Yeah, the reward cards are not going to sell out, but the special foils, once they're dropped, they're dropped. Yeah. 4 months, but somehow the gold foils would be gone bugs me. There would be a chance to win a gold foil as long as reward cards are out there. Yeah, well, the way they've set it up is that once they're gone, they're gone. So they want it to be. It's a lot harder to get a gold foil now, and there'll be a lot smaller numbers. Obviously, they're trying to push up the value of it. And let's see here. That brings up a good question. So we have, let's look at rewards. I don't have any gold foils. I do have that gold foil Arcane, but I wanted to check, do regular gold foils, I don't think that they can be used on land or wagons either. So that would be a bad thing in mind. I don't know. I really didn't like that change, to tell you the truth. I like the change that we can now get gold foils in the draw, and I understand, or from draws, and they're unlocked, and I like that change, and I can understand that they wanted to balance. There was a thin line there where you're balancing, well, okay, so now we're going to let them sell off the cards and have some values from a possible pick. Very small percentage, but we don't want to allow them to use them on land or on wagons. I can understand that it's a balancing act right there. But, to me, the excitement of getting a gold foil or Arcane is like, yeah, but really it's great for players, if that's your primary goal. But for those of us who are interested in other parts of the game, it's like, I may end up just selling it. So that's the takeaway there. Emmy1T says pull rate will decline. People have millions of glint saved. I think a lot of people have. I'd be interested in how the glint is working out now and how much of it has been spent. That's what I'd be interested in, because I know I didn't really save up a whole lot because I wanted to get those last few. Where are we going? We're going to rewards. I bought some of the skins, right? And I also, before the last set went out, I wanted to get some of the legendaries. And I still haven't completed my my legendary set from the last one. I was able to trade a card with Gathering, but some of the other people that wanted to trade are just not getting back to me. So I might end up just buying some and completing that. But you can see I've got like 337,000. But my problem is I go to buy some draws. Now I have to buy the potions. So I have to factor that in as well, because, if I want a chance at the gold foils, I need to buy those potions. So the potions are another commodity that increases the price on this. And then, as we talked, the Halloween skins that really the top level ones had sold out really fast, although the regular ones are still here. Emmy1T says league maxed. He stopped at silver for his deck. So kind of doing the same thing that Gathering does on his $10 accounts, where probably, playing in that, kind of made their cards, brought their cards up to what would be max silver level and just played them from there. Sharon says, yeah, as a newer player, it's hard to kind of compete with people that have glint stockpiled. Yeah, it's true. One of the things about this game is it's I don't want to say it's pay to win, because you still have to have a little bit of strategy. You have to know the cards, and you have to know how to use them. However, having a bunch of money to throw at the game and buy the highest number levels of cards possible certainly does help. There's a lot of players that are really good players, can punch above their weight class, so to speak, and play with like a gold deck playing in diamond, or a diamond deck playing in champion, just because they're really proficient with the cards. That does help, but it's having a bunch of money to throw at all the cards and max them out really helps as well, which most of us don't have. Snowball says, depends on what other summoners you have. It's a good shapeshift. Snowball says Lamacron was so annoying. I agree. Still hit it once in a while. Sharon says, I'm kind of dreading the SPS mini pack because I'm hearing that people have like hundreds of thousands of SPS, which means that it will probably cost thousands instead of hundreds of SPS to buy a pack. Gathering says 350 SPS per pack. Sharon, I just stopped worrying about what other people are doing. I have my own kind of budget in my mind on what I spend on gaming on a weekly or monthly basis, and I just go with it. Do realize that there are elements that you could get caught up in and maybe overspend your budget, but I think it's rated well. I mean, the tokens are kind of are depressed a little bit these days, but all tokens are depressed these days, right? Maybe not Bitcoin. I don't keep up with it, but yeah, just budget what you can spend and spend within your budget. With that said, I'm not really going to be a heavy partaker in the mini set. So I'm pretty much set with my land, and I'm inching forward with my land. And I'm not saying this as an investment advice. And I know everybody talking about land being very expensive. I understand it. I'm set up. I've already dug my hole. And I'm just inching along, trying to make it better and hoping for the future of land. That's what I'm doing, okay? And I've also realized with all this new stuff coming out, you have the exclusive card, Dargatum, which they've been going good. In fact, in less than a day, this auction will end, and there's not too many bids. The highest bid is only 4. So, if you want to get in on that, that's fine. I'm sure there towards the end, a bunch of people will start bidding. But you could also go in on the exclusive. Well, that's the exclusive. Anyway, my point is there's a lot of stuff to spend money on in this game, and you just got to pick and choose what you think brings value to you. And yes, I haven't. I usually let the first day go by before I buy my Wild Pass because on both my accounts, because I find that first day if I activate it, I just get beat by a bunch of higher level accounts anyway. So I looked at my DEC, and I had spent most of my DEC on my land this week. So I was kind of low, and I'm like, I squeaked by selling the SBS I made yesterday to get DEC to be able to buy that pack. So I have to go and do some maneuvering to get some more DEC to be able to pay my league passes. So, yeah, I just kind of happened to see forward in chat. Snowballs ask, how many land plots do I have now? I have 25. I do need to claim. I'll probably wait until after the show. This show's about over though, but owned my plots. So you can see what I own. Most of my land is in Ravenwood. So you can see that I have 7 is going to be grain. You know, like I said, when I originally set up, and I've done this has been forever now since the videos put out, but my strategy has always been, and people were telling me I was wrong back in the day, but now guess what? Everybody's like, yeah, you should have a lot of grain, you know. I always went with the strategy of trying to have a base level of grain, enough grain to pay for all of my land plots production in that region. Okay, so if we went to 133 where I have most of my properties, let's go by list, you will see that the majority of them are grain producing. Rivers forever, and a few others. But I do have enough grain being produced across all my lands to be enough grain to feed everything else that is going on. You know, I've got this Magic Death Mountain, which is producing aura. I've got a few other things that are producing iron and producing wood, but I have enough grain going by. And in one of my regions, in Veritas, I am producing just wood and food and grain and selling that off on a weekly basis to make DEC. So I'm set up, I think, in a very logical manner. I'm not making a ton off of it, but everything seems to be going well. And as we go along, I'm improving, each region a little bit at a time, a card here, a card there, because it involves, once again, coming up with what your budget is, you know, in your mind, what you want to logically spend on it. And then, you know, you buy a card. Like I said earlier, I'm telling you the exact strategy I use. If I buy a beta rare max level, it's about $30, right? Then I have to have 10,000 DEC, but then I can move that onto a land, replace one of my common cards, move that common card somewhere else, and hopefully fill in a slot that, you know, is empty, you know, on a piece of land I have that doesn't have the card. So that's been my gradual evolution of my land. So it is what it is. Arbin's in the house. I wasn't ignoring you, Arbin. You probably gone already because the show's almost over. Arbin is a big player over on Atlas Earth, a big supporter of the channel. So I do appreciate everybody coming by. Gathering says, good luck on your weekly pack. We just did that. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm way behind in chat. Emmy Wanty says, speaking of giraffe, get your skins if you want them. They end soon. Yep. But then they talked about in this last week, or it was the last town hall, whenever that happened. They talked about the possibility of other skins happening for other holidays. But once again, there's this balancing act that you want to cover holidays that are kind of worldwide, since we're a worldwide community and not specifically just to the United States, right? Because just like somebody asked, will there be Thanksgiving skins? Thanksgiving is primarily a U.S. and Canadian holiday, although most other places have some sort of holiday during their year where they're giving thanks for the blessings they have, you know. but the U.S. Thanksgiving and the Canadian Thanksgiving occur different times. So, and they talked about the fact that it doesn't have to be a full set of skins. They could just release a few skins that would cover some of the newer cards or older cards and intersperse them, and just like a little bit of a surprise. So. Crypto Beaver Snowballs asks how much of the skin's trading for. I don't think they can be traded yet. And that's what Crypto Beaver said. They're soulbound currently. They are in the works of making them tradable, though. I think they had put out a tips in the Discord under the announcements a couple weeks ago on how to actually trade them if you wanted to do it. It's not exactly easy. Like, you can't just go into the store and trade them. You have to take a few other actions to trade them on the blockchain. I think they are tradable, but not like just easy through the store currently. Yeah, that's what it said. Snowball says you can transfer them if you go on the card in your inventory. But then once again, you're doing a peer-to-peer transfer, and then that requires some level of trust. Gathering says we did talk about putting up numbers in the Glint store and the amount of Glint spent, chests, and draws bought in the last 24 hours. That'd be nice. It'd be nice to see the totals, so you can keep track, especially people who like to keep track. Paul Taylor says, check cards delegated to you. Happy 3 years. Well, thanks, man. Let's go to items, check cards. Let's clear, and then delegated to me. Oh, sweet. He delegated me a Lux Vega. Well, thanks, Paul. I surely appreciate it. And I will report back on how Archmage puts it to use. I appreciate it. Gathering says, some good plots recently dropped to 43. Now I'm in need of more money. Aren't we all? Okay, well, with that said, first of all, thanks, Paul. Thanks for loaning me out that Lux Vega. I'll take her for a spin. He knows that that's a card I've been looking at, and I've just been him-hawing about. It's one of those things that comes back down to, like, you have to make a decision on how you spend your money in the game. And it's just one of those nice to have I always wanted, but I haven't bought yet. So appreciate the usage of her. Otherwise, I want to thank everybody for coming by. Now, you may have thought that I forgot the wheel, but I didn't forget the wheel. I am giving 2 cards away, a Pickle and an Arena Fanatic. And today, in a different manner, I'm picking to give these to Lady Sharon. She is a very big supporter of the channel, and she's always on my live streams, and she has a live stream of her own, so please check her out. Lady Sharon will be getting a Pickle and a Arena Fanatic. So with that said, I hope everyone has a great week in Splinterlands and outside of Splinterlands. Go touch some grass. It's nice fall weather here, although it did rain for the last 2 days. So appreciate everybody coming by. And once again, look at that news, that video I put out if you haven't, on what to expect. There's probably some type of changes happening to us YouTubers in the next month. Hopefully not too much, but we'll see. Otherwise, have a great week. I'll see you in Splinterlands.